Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. It has been a while that I have not shooted for. I have not made any talk about Intel and not necessarily Intel in the broader sense, but what about that now how if they can compete with TSMC, because Intel for a long time, probably for decades, so he has kept the basic business intact and other things he has diluted in the form of either in SoftBank thing is basically the recent thing is that NVIDIA has invested around $5 billion to investing in US and in Taiwan. So after the fabs, that means that they have some divestment in terms of 1.8 nanometer technology that they have announced, and it has two major upgrade. It's basically not upgrade, that is a innovation, I would say. One is basically the backward power delivery, which basically improves the Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. It has been a while that I have not shooted for. I have not made any video recording for this YouTube channel. So I beg your pardon from your side. And today we will talk about Intel, and not necessarily Intel in the broader sense, but what about that Intel's, how they can come back from the downfall they had for the previous few years, and now how if they can compete with TSMC, because Intel has their design center as well as they have their fabrication unit or the chip factory. So how they can compete with TSMC, who are right now preparing most of the chips throughout the world for most of the companies in the very high scale technology level. So in order to start with that, I need to talk about a little bit of background of Intel, what they have done for the last 6 months or so. I think the first changes that has happened in the form of their change of CEO. So Lip-Bu Tan has joined Intel as a CEO, and after he has joined, he has done several changes in the Intel in terms of he has make the profitable business in the form of the CPU or the processor design. So Intel has been known for the processor for a long time, probably for decades. So he has kept the basic business intact, and other things he has diluted in the form of either selling that component or taking a share of the component and making it as a individual unit, something like Altera he has mentioned, and Mobili is another company he has diluted from the the main Intel focus unit. The recent changes that he has done is basically he has done some collaboration in the sense that first of all in SoftBank has agreed to invest around $2 billion in Intel, but SoftBank has not got any Intel board seat or Intel any other way of influencing Intel business. Second major thing that Intel has done is basically the collaboration with the US government. So US government has taken 10% of stake from Intel, so that US government can participate in voting for Intel, in terms of they can not actively but passively can influence Intel's business taking decision. And the third thing is basically the recent thing is that NVIDIA has invested around $5 billion to Intel. But whether they are taking any influence of the Intel business is not known as such. But all these things has become very positive in the last 1 month or so. In that way, Intel has got the kind of cash flow that they require for at least to survive for next 1 year or 2 year, around that period of time. So the recent thing in terms of the processor thing they have is basically they have recently launched their 18A technology in the form of Panther Lake processor. So Panther Lake is basically something in the Intel's next generation processor, and it is started. They have started the mass production of the Panther Lake processor, and they have also showcased that in the form of laptop. I think Acer is the first laptop that has incorporated Intel's 18A, and it has been showcased in in exhibition also. So now the $1,000,000 question is basically now Intel has their competition with TSMC. Now Intel 18i is basically 1.8 nanometer technology, and TSMC has 2 nanometer technology, but TSMC has much way forward from Intel in terms of customer, in terms of the technology, in terms of their order they have got from the customer. At least I think for next 2 years, TSMC is completely booked for the customers that they have for the 2 nanometer. Different customers are showing interest in the form of Apple for 1.4 nanometer technology that they are going to develop next after 2 nanometer stabilization. And not necessarily they are doing chip manufacturing, they are doing chip manufacturing in US and in Taiwan. So after Taiwan, US is the next. Arizona is the place that they are generating chips in the fabs. That means that they have some divestment in terms of geopolitical advantage, and most importantly, they do not need to pay taxes that has been incorporated by the US government recently. So any chip which has been manufactured in Arizona that do not carry any taxes. But right now, the recent announcement that they have made with NVIDIA is that NVIDIA Blackwell chip has been the first NVIDIA Blackwell chip has been fabricated in Intel Arizona unit, but that needs to be sent back to Taiwan for packaging and all these other things. But at least the process has been started in US. So that means outside Asia, this is the first chip that has been fabricated by TSMC in US, specifically in particular Arizona. So now coming back to Intel, so what they can do, and most interestingly that they have competition with TSMC at the same time. They are also customer of TSMC, and how? Because it the Panther Lake chip that they have developed, partially they are going to sell the Panther Lake chip by incorporating TSMC 2 nanometer technology, and partially they will incorporate 1.8 nanometer technology. That is, they're manufacturing in their own manufacturing factory or unit in US. So that is a interesting part, and another important factor is that how Intel can survive this, because TSMC is kind of the business they have. They can flood the number of wafers throughout the world. They can capture all the customers, and they can charge any kind of fees for any kind of prices for the wafers. Even they have increased the wafer prices by initially they have thought of 50% increase of 2 nanometer technology prices, but ultimately they have I think settled around $30,000 per wafer, $30,000 per wafer, and they have also increased the 3 nanometer technology prices for I think 25,000 to 27,000 per wafer. And the companies that are getting pain is basically the Qualcomm and MediaTek. They are feeling the pain by paying this much of high prices to TSMC, because there is no competition in the market, and only few companies including Intel they can have the capacity to manufacture the chip unit. So that means becoming a partner with Intel, US government has the advantage of influencing the other companies to buy chip from Intel. So that is the pivot, that is the advantage that Intel has in terms of becoming a US headquartered unit, and the disadvantage is basically they cannot compete TSMC. The only way they can compete is basically the innovation. because innovation came in the form of 1.8 nanometer technology that they have announced, and it has two major upgrade. It's basically not upgrade, that is a innovation, I would say. One is basically the backward power delivery, which basically improves the chip routing space a lot. And the second thing they have is basically the not necessarily the FinFET, they have moved to RibbonFET technology. It's basically the gate all around transistor. So these two technological innovation they have incorporated in 18A technology, and it has come in the Panther Lake. And also, they have a server server chip also that they are going to incorporate this 18A technology, but that is going to come in the year 2026. I think that is a Xeon server that they are incorporating Panther Lake. So these are the discussion about Intel, and this other discussion of the TSMC, but there are other players also, like who are going to influence this business is basically Microsoft, is basically Apple. So Apple has already booked a 2026 slot from TSMC, and Microsoft is also recently have done a collaboration with Intel. They have their Maya chip, for Maya 2 version of the chip. They are going to they showed interest of doing innovation with Intel, and that is the advantage that Intel has, that more companies are coming to collaborate with them for their 18A technology. I don't know it is basically being biased or influenced by the US government, but ultimately they have the advantage of being a US company out there. Now I think these are the things that I wanted to incorporate with you, because the primary point of my discussion is basically the innovation that Intel needs to show consistently that they are innovating in the chip in order to stay stay floated in the business or in the competition with TSMC. And also they need to perform also in terms of chip manufacturing, in terms of yield, because they are right now going less yield compared to TSMC for the 18A technology. The exact number is not known. It can be 50% as well as the 50% yield. Yield means basically the growth. I would say that it means basically the kind of correct chip that they are going to generate, and it can be 70% as well, but not, at least not 80% or 90% that TSMC is claiming for their latest technology. So it's basically innovation that Intel needs to follow with them. There are other important companies that who are fighting with Intel and TSMC. I need to mention it here. Is basically Samsung. Samsung is the Korean company, and they are also fighting very hard to compete with TSMC, to compete with Intel. And I think that is a fair competition in order to keep the business floating, because Samsung is giving less price with respect to TSMC for their 2 nanometer technology. I think I do not have anything to say today, but maybe in my next video I will try to add more things in terms of this competition, in terms of the rivalry with respect to the latest nanometer technology that they are having right now. I think that's it for today. Last but not least, I would now like to mention that I have recently published a book. I think I have published 2 books. One is basically the Global Chipware, where I have discussed all these kind of technological competition, technological global challenges, geopolitical tension, but those are presented in a very interesting way in my latest book called the Global Chipware. Second book that I have published, I think a while ago, that is Semiconductor for All. That means that anybody who has minimum background even from semiconductor and VLSI, they can also write, they can also read this book to get knowledge of the latest technology. So I would say that I would provide the Amazon link in the description section of the video, so you can buy this book, and I am sure that you will get benefited. I think that's it for today. Do let me know what do you think about. Is it at all interesting to know all about the things that is happening throughout the globe in terms of technology? Because you are using a smartphone, you are using Apple phone, you are using Android phone, but you also need to know that what are the chips that those phones has. You can use CPUs in your personal laptop, but what are the chips, how it is being fabricated? So it is very important to know what is happening throughout the globe. So I think that's it for today. Wait for the next video to come. Till then, Subhasish Chakraborti signing off.